Hey guys, welcome to Trish Standley TV. Today we're going to tackle a topic that is going on a lot on social media, and that is the black man against the black woman and the dating arena. What is going on? So our show title today is Dating Again in 2025, New Rules, Real Talk. Our guest is none other than Anthony Poole, aka AP, and my co-host today is Twanda Fair. You do not want to miss this episode.
Trish Standley TV show.
Hey guys, welcome to this edition of Trish Standley TV. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that I have not personally experienced, but I see a lot on social media, and that is the dating scene, the current dating scene. I've heard how I think they say that dating right now is toilet water or something like that. But we wanted to bring on some experts, on one expert in particular who is going to sit down and have a real conversation with us, and that's none other than Anthony Poole. But before we get to him, I want to thank my co-host, Twanda Fair, who's going to sit down and have this very vivid conversation as a woman of divorce who is now single, because we're going to talk about singleness. But help me welcome none other than Anthony Poole to Trish Standley TV.
Welcome to Trish Standley TV.
I appreciate that. How y'all ladies doing this evening? Y'all look beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
I had the benefit of meeting you for the first time. You work in your vision and your dream, and I love that. Anyone who is working their dream and putting not just the words on paper, but putting their foot to the pavement, that's you. And I really enjoyed your event. But before we get there, tell us who you are and what is it about this particular topic, talking to singles, men and women? How is that the platform that was selected or chosen for you?
Got you. And I appreciate you asking. I want to also say I appreciate you and your support on my first show when,
Absolutely.
Not too many people want to actually come to the party when it's empty inside, but you started to see the growth and the process from where it was then to where it's at right now. So thank you, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It was a humble beginning. So, I'm originally from New Jersey, Patterson, New Jersey. I don't know if you ever seen that movie Lean on Me.
Yes.
So that's where I'm from. Y'all both said yes at the same time, like y'all had a nostalgia or something, right? So yes, I'm from Patterson, New Jersey, 4th Ward, and I was blessed enough to grow up with both of my parents in the household. So I seen, with me and my 2 older sisters, what a healthy household look like for 21 years. I seen what a blended family looked like. I seen when we had cousins and aunts and uncles living in and out our home, for 21 years. I seen where the mother, my mom worked 16 hours and, my dad, was, worked in the daytime, but then did my sisters and them hair and took us to extracurricular activities. I seen where, my mother, her time of spending time with us was taking us shopping and taking us out to eat because she was, working, getting to the money. And then, my father was a pillar of the community as the post office and vice president of the union. Pushed all of us up into college, and we bumped our heads when you're living in these urban areas. But I thank God that I was able to see an example of what 2 individuals that can come together and witness the setbacks, the comebacks, the setbacks, the comebacks. And then also was blessed enough to see a lot of things that didn't happen behind the scenes that, caused us to be where we are right now, those untold stories that our parents wind up having, right? As I gravitated into 27 years old and moved to South Carolina, reestablished myself as a young man, left a lot of things alone that wind up, that I was indulging in the quote unquote concrete jungle, wind up, getting married and having a child at that time, and then, transitioning over to Atlanta, Georgia, right? So everything was also about transitions, growth, and then also finding who I was in these different regions. And I had to learn, am I going to show people, I can either show you where I'm from or I can show you where I'm going. Right? So I had to learn to start allowing me to show people where I was going at in life, especially when you start moving out your geographical area, people start judging you in some way, shape, or form, right? after 2 years of moving to Atlanta, we wind up going through some troubles in a relationship and, you know, divorce and things of that nature wind up taking place, which we can, you know, get into detail as we go forward. But going through that, I'll say, you know, I've been through a lot of things in life, you know, and it wasn't until I went through that divorce, which was one of the toughest things I had to do, especially when you're going through a custody battle and things of that nature.
That's different.
And what drew my interest to that is, you ever had a car, you bought one, and you really didn't even notice it was on the road until now you purchase it. Now you see it in the
everywhere.
road, you see it in different colors.
Everybody has the car.
Everybody have
Even
that.
the same color.
So to be transparent, that's how I felt about going through that divorce.
Wow.
Now, you know, a lot of us don't look like what we've been through
Say
or what
that.
we're going through.
Amen.
So now I got a chance to go through that process, and now I'm coming across people from different avenues, different ages, different ethnicities, and it's, you know, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, you know, especially working in the car industry, you know, where you're, you know, coming into the public, and then, you know, it goes from talking about the vehicle to talking about personal.
Right.
And then that's how this story right there transitioned into, you know, really sharing my story on the aftermath of the divorce, and then how people wind up seeing what I went through and started to ask me for experience, strength, and hope on how to get through theirs. And then for me, that's when you know that you become an expert in somewhere. It's not just about going to school, getting a divorce, going to school, getting a degree. It's one of those things to where now you have people asking you, how did you get through it?
Right.
And how can you help me? So that's how that went.
And how is it as a male, from a male's perspective, that you were able to be in tap with that level of vulnerability? Because you have to display a level of vulnerability to people for them to feel free to be able to trust you and come and share this very difficult, trying time in their life. Is that something that is that the spirit of your mom? Is that just who you are as a person generally? Because most men, and I'm not trying to generalize, but most men, they are not the first ones, unless you got doctor behind PhD behind your name, that people will feel that connected to share that their experiences with you.
Right. So people, you'd be surprised how people won't mind sharing anything with anybody. The thing is, you got to ask.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, there's been times I've had somebody wind up breaking down and crying right in front of me, and it was like, you know, what made you share that? It's like, because you asked. A lot of us won't open up because nobody makes the initiative to ask.
Wow.
You know, Les Brown said something powerful years ago that I still hold to this day. He said, when you're going through, 80% of people don't care. The other 20% just glad it's not them.
Wow.
That's true.
You know.
Wow.
So some people are waiting for the right people to ask. Maybe it may be your aesthetics. It may be, you know, the way that you walk. It may be, you know, you with your wife or your husband. There's something that's drawing those people in, that's your pheromones, and they are waiting for some of us to make those initiatives to say, you know, you have something going on that's drawing me to you. If you ask, I'll open up. Absolutely. And it's all about the presentation.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. I think, especially coming from, I love the whole platform, because usually it's us women, because we love talking, running our mouths. We're usually starting the conversation. So it's so refreshing to see you as a man starting the conversation and inquiring about certain things. One of the things I enjoyed about you from when I went to see you, that you said was, you've never cheated in any of your relationships.
Right, correct.
And we need you to talk to your brothers about that. How do you do that? Because you're not, it's not like you're a buster or anything. You're a nice looking man.
I appreciate that.
How are you able, or how were you able? What is it in you? What is your daddy? Because that's a daddy.
That's a daddy
Your
thing.
daddy instilled something in
Somebody
you
taught you.
that other people are not doing. Can you break that part down for us?
You know, for one, there's two things I said I wasn't going to never have. I wasn't going to have no felonies, and I wasn't going to be no baby father and cheat and all of that, right? So, you know, I've proclaimed those. But I didn't see that in my household.
Right.
You know, my father's a handsome man, you know, brown skin, hazel green eyes, from Harlem, can dress, you know, vice president of the union for the post office, post a man in the public, bilingual, all of these things. But I seen that man come home to my mother after he got clean, and he's been clean from addiction for 36 years.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, at the age of 4, I even seen him in these rooms of recovery, sharing his story and gravitating to people. So I think one of the major things that also played a part in me is, you know, when you play sports and extracurricular activities, it's teaching you discipline.
That's right.
You know, you got to have self-discipline. You know, you know, if you got to be disciplined to be able to get up and go to work on time. You got to be disciplined in order to take care of yourself and your household and things of that nature. So, you know, I think that a lot of people lack self-discipline. A lot of people are still dealing with childhood trauma issues,
That's
and
the
they're looking
number
for
one thing
acceptance.
right there.
You know, I think that, you know, we're living in a society right now that over-sexualize everything and giving the people a lot more options than they really have, right? A lot of people have dealt with self-esteem issues, and now that they've gotten a good job or they've joined some type of fraternity, or, you know, they've reached a certain type of status and have some titles behind their names, now it's kind of that identity versus responsibility where they're trying to catch up to all of the things that they've missed, and now they're messing up their life in their 30s, 40s, and 50s
Because
because they're
now
trying
you
to live
still
in
got to
their
go back.
20s.
Yeah.
Correct.
You still have to go back
Correct.
and identify with that you overlooked. And I can say that because that's a me too. You know, I think we all have childhood trauma somewhere. You know, my childhood trauma may not be yours.
Correct.
But for most, it's something in there that you've ignored, that you try to put that in the back of your head, but it's still in the front of your head. And I can speak because that was me. But at the end of the day, the question is, do you want to be better? And do you want to have a better character? Do you want to, that looks at your character and your integrity as to how you treat people, how you allow people to treat you. So when people ask me, talk to me about their relationship, sometimes I'm like, why me? You know, but that, and I, you know, I'm not a person that's ashamed of where I've been, ashamed of being divorced. I'm not. I'm not embarrassed about going through it, because a lot of people are. And they don't want people to know that they've gone through that, or they going through that, or they going through some kind of issues in their marriage. You know, in our community, the Black community, we were supposed to be quiet. We were supposed to talk about what going in the house.
What goes in the house stays in the house.
What going in the house stays in the house. Well, that's to a certain extent. Because some of those things we should have told.
Yeah.
It would have helped the childhood trauma to get help. That goes to talk about mental health. And that's what's wrong with a lot of us. The mental part of us is the trapping of what we've seen or experienced, and not being able to verbalize that
And heal from
and
it.
feel comfortable talking about that, because they didn't talk about therapy. They didn't talk about going to talk to the preacher. You know, you gonna hush that stuff up. If you gonna talk to anybody, it's all you gonna talk to is the preacher. But the family will even just shut that down. Don't talk about that. Don't tell nobody that. Well, that is a lot of our problem, because nobody wants to address the truth.
And you take that trauma into your relationships.
Every relationship, whether it's a friendship relationship,
Love
a
relationship.
boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, you take all of that stuff and you bottle it up, and you can't put it in that suitcase, because you're going to carry it around from one house to the next. Wherever you move your body, you move it with you. You don't get to leave it here. You don't get to drop it off at the door. Wherever you move, it goes.
No, you're absolutely right.
That suitcase, when you set it down, it's still at your feet, because it walked with you. It's internal. And that's something
So let me ask you this. Do you feel that, and I'll ask the both of you because you've experienced divorce, do you feel, I do believe there's healing time that has to take place, but do you think that it's even possible to even go into any love relationship without taking, or it involving trauma on either side. It's going to, I feel, now this is just me, it's going to always be something, but I feel like in the entity of that marriage or that union, or whether it's you're just dating, that you have to work that thing out. Some things you're not going to run into until you're in a relationship so that you can heal it. What's your take on that?
So, for me, I think that when we're able to bring specific conversations to break the ice to who we allow access to, because we got to realize that first and foremost, you're a person of quality. Not everybody's going to be allowed to have access to you, especially when you're single. That's one. Two, when we wind up going to the table, that everybody talks, what do you bring to the table? Well, let's bring everything up to the table. Let's have a seat at the table and let's talk about everything you went through. Also, what's your triggers? Or as they like to say, pet peeves to kind of sweeten it up a little bit, right? What are your non-negotiables? And what have you been through, so I can make sure you're not having a negative nostalgia, and we can clear that out. And I'm going to also bring my character defects to the table. Now, cool. Now there's no surprises. There's no X, Y, and Z's. Also, when you talk about bringing certain experiences that we have, I'm going to share a specific trick that I've had to allow people that's in my circle, and we started to do that. If you want to know how somebody's going to wind up handling situations, spend some quality time with them and start discussing some scenarios.
Say that. That's so true.
Have some dialogue, talk about scenarios. Go get your wine, go get your coffee, go sit down, go chop it up with them on a nice, and have some topics that you wind up hearing about, seeing about. Have a quick dialogue with them about it, and see how they handle when certain situations pop up. Again, they may not handle it in real time, but at least you have some type of moral compass on how they handle certain situations. And then lastly, I haven't heard anyone do it, and then this is what I'm starting to do. The same way we go to the doctors to go get a yearly checkup, we need to start doing monthly relationship checkups.
That's true.
I think that is so real.
And we're doing this in a mutual place, not inside the house, not inside the at our friend's house. Pick a place, a park, pick a day,
a place away
Saturday,
from.
pick a time, 3 o'clock. Great. Saturday, once a month at 3 o'clock at the park. We're gonna meet at this destination. We're going to wind up saying a prayer before we get out for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're going to get out. We're going to flip a coin. Who's going to go first? We're going to still make it fun.
That's right.
You share what you've been through that week, that month. Put it on the table. I'm not going to interrupt you.
Right.
I'm going to share and give a response on what you may or may not thought or understood. Then we're going to reverse it. Then we're going to pray. And we're going to leave it at the park.
I like
And we're going to pray about that too when we leave it at the park. Now, if you choose to bring it up in the car, you still got an attitude at the house. That's your fault.
And
you take it up with the Lord.
That's a thing too, because you gotta know how to let it go. And that's having healthy conversations about something that bothers you, whether it bothers you or not.
Correct.
Just having healthy conversations about anything, or feeling safe to having a healthy conversation about, I'm gonna say something that bothers you, because that's typically what the problem is. It's an issue a lot of times. So when you don't feel comfortable having a conversation about something that you feel, uncomfortable about, or having trouble understanding, or just anything that's not feeling good, I'm gonna say that. I want to feel like I can go to my partner, my significant other, my lover, my husband, I don't care. I want to feel like it's safe for me to come and say what I feel to you without it being reversed or used against me.
I understand. I like that. I've had to position myself and say that out loud to women that came into my life for different reasons, seasons in lifetime, right? It was, I'm not perfect, but I'm safe.
That's good. And a lot of times that's what we want.
But then you also got to realize there's a time and place for everything. So just because you're ready to talk about a heavy topic
say
doesn't mean that man is.
That's real.
Right? We got to meet each other halfway even when it comes to conversing. But we also can't put too much time in when people start using time as
in between the
forgiveness.
time. Yes.
Yeah. And I say I'm very transparent. in my marriage. Maybe that's why it's lasted 26 years. But
Okay.
very transparent. But I had gotten to a place where I actually had to go and get counseling. I had daddy issues, and so my dad had died, and after he died,
My condolence.
it's been many, many years, and he was a deadbeat. And because he passed, that was a trigger for me, because years prior it was always, oh, we can make it, we can come together at some point, we can fix this. And when he died, those opportunities, those chances were gone, and so it messed with me. And so I had to go to counseling, and when I was going through counseling, she kind of tapped into marriage stuff too, which I appreciate now. And one of the things, bad traits that I've had since a little girl, was I'll shut down on you, and I will shut down and be shut down for a week. We could be
Sometimes
passing
two.
each other in the hallway.
That's
You will not get my eye contact.
That's real.
You will not get words. And when she told me, she said, Trish, that is a level of abuse.
Yes, it is.
When she broke that down to me, that was such a reality check. And I said, I cannot do that anymore. I cannot do that again. I cannot operate in that. I'm said all that to say this: even when you're in a relationship and we always focus on the person hurting us, we have to take out time and sit back and self-reflect. That's the huge word. Do a self-evaluation and see how we are playing into the equation as well. One thing my mother always told us when we were younger, I would get in a fight with somebody, I'll come home, or get in an argument with someone, a teacher, whatever, and she'll always say, no matter how right the other person was, she would always say, what was your participation in that situation? And so being real and being in a relationship and out here dating and all of that, that's only my piece that I could add to those who are out here seeking and dating. You have to have a strong muscle of self-reflection. You have to be able to self-check. And it ain't always the other person doing all of the harm. You're doing some harm, and you playing a part of that as well. Share your take on that? Because right now, especially with our community, we see a lot of with the Kevin Samuels and all of that, and now the black men mad at us and black women mad at, and we can't come together. And what is your take on the state of dating in our community right now?
Well, the dating industry is a $2.6 billion industry as of 2014, and we're 2025. Excuse me, as 2024, and we're 2025 right now. The CDC statistics in 2024 was 40% of individuals got married. But keep in mind, more people got married than divorced. So 40% got a divorce, 40% got a divorce. Mind you, more people got married than they got divorced. People that got married twice, which 60% got a divorce afterwards. We're going through a gender war right now, especially in our culture, African American community, where accountability is there, and we are utilizing a lot of content on social medias, movies, reality shows, things of that nature to use entertainment of pointing the finger, cursing each other out, not taking accountability, all of these different things, right? People are not only looking for love, they're paying for love. When I say the dating industry is a $2.6 billion industry, people are not only looking for love, they're paying for love. They are on 2 or 3 different apps, dating apps, as I may say, paying $50 to $60 to $100 for a subscription.
You got to pay for the dating app?
You got to pay for the dating apps. I never, listen.
Really?
I'm going to tell you, I am so out of the loop. I'm so out of the loop. Mind you, I've been married practically my whole life. I've been with the same person.
Would you get on the app?
I think that is crazy. But that's me.
Yeah.
I'm an old school girl. That's just me, I don't knock nobody that do that. But that's me. I think because I'm old school and I've been married my whole life. And I'm just now fresh, 3 years of divorce. So for me, and I'm going to be honest, I'm a little intimidated about even dating.
There's no problem with that, because you have some people that's still out there that like to organically meet people while they are at a function, at a gas station, at the grocery store. So don't take yourself out the loop of I'm over here, everybody's over there. Everybody got their own way of listening to something.
But that's why I say I don't knock nobody.
Right. But to get back to what you were asking, I've had to learn that while we're going through this gender war, we need to start bridging the gap of instead of pointing the finger, we need to start understanding people that we are about to get in these relationships with, right? So this is why I created the platform Touchy Topics, when the barbershop met the beauty bar. Right, the barbershops,
That is so
you know, the barbers were the original therapists before the therapists became popular. As we talked about the therapists earlier, right?
I believe in them.
The beauticians, right, were the original therapists. The beauticians, the hair salons, nail salons, massage spas, things of that nature. The makeup artists, they were the original therapists to these clientels that were sitting in their chairs and getting themselves groomed, feeling better, but they had to share and shed some of these relationship situations they were going through, whether it was with friends, family, or their significant others, or even with themselves, right? Co-workers, all of these things. What I chose to do was, there's a difference between focusing on the problem and also focusing on the problem and coming up with a solution.
That part.
My thing was, when it came to touchy topics, when the barbershop met the beauty bar, I wanted to merge these conversations that we have in these safe havens, because a lot of us men don't have the privilege of hearing how women communicate in these safe havens when it comes to the 5 factors of prosperity, right? Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially.
Right.
And a lot of women don't have the privilege of hearing how us men give each other sound advice in the barbershops. So what I did was, I wind up having women come into a barbershop, which shout out to Apex Barbershop in Buckhead, where you know, where we shot our first show with that up until recently, and it was amazing, right? We had men and women in the same atmosphere discussing real topics.
What's the? I want you to continue, but what's the age? I want to put the age range from those participants.
We went 30 to 30 and up.
Okay.
You know, we went 30 and up. You know, but at the end of the day, with that geographical age rank right there, it was, for the most part, people that were already, you know, established in, you know, where they wanted to move, where they live at, if they had a child, if they had parents. So we also vetted a lot of people. We just didn't let in everybody come on the show. But I think at that age, that 30 mark, you know, we had a conversation on, you know what, let's have this as a starting point. And maybe later on down the line, we can have a platform for people that are in their 20s. So it's like, you know, we can start grooming them into their 30s
when
and 40s
they're younger.
and 50s. But needless to say, then we wind up having a beautiful salon that we're shooting our show at as well, which is the Purple Door Salon. Shout out to them right there with where we're going to be bringing the men into those salons, and we're going to wind up having those conversations, right?
Okay, I'm sorry. So you're going to be bringing, so the first one you had a combination of women and men in the barbershop. But you're going to have, what I hear, I think you're getting ready to go, you're going to have men going into the beauty salons. And women going into the barbershop.
Correct. So while the women are in the salons, we're bringing men into the salons, and we're going to wind up having these conversations. Correct. You know, and you know, there are topics that we wind up bringing up from the actual book itself. You know, you'll wind up seeing a book right behind me as well too, which is topics such as dating with a purpose, being healed, relationship resume, married to your career, online dating, my lifestyle intimidates them, trust issues, social media while in a relationship, rags to riches then left me, equally yoked, sexual appetite, dating without a child versus a parent, never married versus dating a divorcee, guy trips versus girl trips, trauma bonding, if I would have known, pretty privileges and handsome handouts, generational wealth versus generational curses, boy toys and trophies, the art of being kept, unknowingly committed to a narcissist, and soul ties, and conversation and sex. Now, up until, that's 21 different topics from the actual workbook that I have that we wind up discussing in these forums. But I also have 367 topics right now already on deck that these conversations are going to be lasting for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So that's where we are right now. And what I loved about that first show is there's a lot of information that women was hearing from men, to where they were either between talking about being celibate for 2 years and how a lot of men were focusing on themselves and their job, and they were trying to go through their healing and sabbatical issues and problems where a lot of women don't hear, to where you had you know, men hearing how a lot of women don't consider men soft when they wind up being vulnerable, because they do have that nurturing aspect, and that caught a lot of men off guard, because they're like, damn, you know, we can open
We
up
want
now.
that.
Right. You know, I'm not going to feel like I can open up to you, which is a privilege for us men. Sometimes we feel that way. It's a privilege for me to open up to you because now I'm being vulnerable, but I also got to make sure that you're not going to use my vulnerability against me.
So I think we both have, both of us have the same issue in that area. That's something that's concerning for both men and women,
Right?
Because that's what we both want, obviously.
Correct. One of the issues is, and you're correct on that, but one of the issues is when you start listening and to the algorithms that's going on in social media, when you're hearing it, you know, consistently on the streets, and your mind is being registered that a majority, if not everybody, is doing it. All men are cheating, or, you know, all women.
That's not true.
When you wind up sitting down across from them, like we're doing right now, and I did it in those forums, in those sectors, with different personalities, nobody knew each other. When you hear the testimonies afterwards, it's, you know what, not everybody thinks like this. Not all men want sex. Not all women are, you know, trying to use, you know, men
money,
financially and things of that nature. So I think it's healthy conversations that's being brought up on, you know, as far as, you know, touchy topics from the barbershop met the beauty bar, because it's over the brand, The Art of Us. Right? I branded The Art of Us, me and my guy Tevi. Shout out to Black Sand out there in Las Vegas. I named it, we named it The Art of Us because my opinion is life is like two brushes, and we're creating a masterpiece so we can put on display publicly and privately. You know, one of the things my mother said, and I'll say this in closing, is you don't want to be a public success but a private failure.
That's right.
And a lot of us can go to work every day. We can go and get these accolades, these awards at these different events. We can, you know, dress nice, look good, smell good, you know, show our kids off. But when we get into them four walls and a roof, forget about it.
Totally different person.
And you know what really brought that to light was COVID. In 2020, a lot of relationships and marriages ended
I was going
during
through it
that time because everybody was stuck. You wasn't going to work getting them accolades. You was stuck at home, which is where, quote unquote, the hell was taking place. And so, but the thing I said that, but I also want to touch back on your book, because everybody know who follow me and watch this show. I love journaling. I am a true believer in getting what's up here. Only way you're gonna get it out is to write it. And so I love that you had that in a workbook form.
That is really, really
because
really
it causes people, versus a book. I mean, I think it would still be good as a book, but I think you're actively doing something, I think is a really gift. So I really, really, really appreciate that you put that
I want that.
in a workbook form. Any explanations around the importance of that?
Yes. So for one, I wanted to make sure that each chapter was going to be non-biased. So even when you listen or you read the chapters, nothing is actually directed to just one specific gender, right? Two, each chapter has one powerful page, right? I didn't want something to be some long red thing, how some of us attention is nowadays. But everything was going to be on point, powerful, and things of that nature. Three is not just off of my experience with the Hope. There's specific individuals that I really had to sit down and have these conversations with, whether they were women that were single, whether they were men that were married, whether they were couples that were, very successful, which I know that that's subjective, but it's a societal opinion, whether it was people that were actually struggling. I had to get all of these different way, shape, or form of these interviews because I wanted to make sure that this book didn't just relate off of AP, Anthony. I wanted to make sure that even if you don't know who I am, this is going to wind up touching this person because I interviewed Trish and she put her 2 cents in it. I interviewed you, put your 2 cents in it. So it draws people in, and also I made it a workbook place, right? Because I wanted it to be where even if you are getting your hair done, you're getting your nails done, you can have this book in front of you, and it's a conversation piece, right? You can start taking notes. You can have that accountability, and it's something too where you can also have your homeboys or your homegirls get together, whether you're on the guys trips or you on your girlfriend spending time, or you having these men retreats and we're all getting together and this, get your notes out and let's talk about this topic right here, and let me write down some notes because I like how you just thought about that. Now I can go back into my notes and I can share this with my significant other. So that's how.
Yeah, and you could do group. We do groups all the time. We do group brunch. And then take the workbook and, like you said, use it as an actual activity.
Correct.
I love that.
I absolutely love that. And for you to, and I'm gonna say it, for you to be a male, to put that together, two men put that together, I think it is brilliant because that's something that people typically would get from a woman. We put stuff together. We overthink things and we talk about a whole lot of stuff, but to see men doing that is refreshing. That is refreshing,
and it's hope for the next generation.
I was just going to say the word hope. It give hope that we can really finally have some real healthy, real conversations, heart conversations. Because you're right, people don't want to talk about the deep stuff. They don't want to. They want to talk about what's on the surface, but what's under there.
Yeah.
And in the trash can, there's a lot typically in the trash that we need to clean out in order to deal with what's really on the surface.
And may not really know how to do it.
Exactly.
And may not have the resources to go and get counseling, but we have your workbook.
The book
that can help you.
Certain topics, that's a whole therapy right there. I believe in therapy. I believe in Jesus.
And therapy.
And I believe in therapy.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I had me and my guy group friends. We we had a get together one time, and I came up with that topic right there. We had a great discussion about it. I titled it "God minus me equals therapy."
What? Listen.
That's good.
Some people feel like they need to go. Some people feel like their life is unmanageable because, they need therapy. And my thing was, well, maybe your life is unmanageable because you don't have a personal relationship with God. You don't need therapy. You need Jesus.
Listen, that's it. If you don't have,
there are those cases.
If you don't have the root of who you are, the core of who you are should be that alone.
Right.
Jesus. And in order for you to be able to work anything out, you got to know who he is. He got to be in the center of all that. That's going to give you purpose.
Conviction.
It's definitely going to convict you to do your part. So that's why I understand Trish when she was saying about how we as women, we have to be able to be checked too.
Oh yeah.
But you have to be willing and humble enough to allow yourself to be corrected.
And what's the pet peeve?
Okay.
What's the pet peeve for me? And I don't even date, but just from what I witnessed, the people that I love in my life that are dating. And this is a woman. I'm talking to my ladies here on this. You cannot beg your man to open up and communicate with you. And the very moment that he does, and he says something you don't like, you shut him down.
Shut him down.
I don't like that. I think that it's a level of bullying. And then once you shut him down, I know, like for me, once I'm shut down, I'm shut down.
I am.
It'd be hard for you to get that back, especially because it isn't as common for you guys to be vulnerable with us. So if he's showing you, I say like dogs, when dogs roll over on their back and they expose their stomach, that means they trust you.
Right.
If he's rolled over on his back and he's stomach up, that means he's trust you.
That's right.
But if you tear him down, you may not ever get that again, and we're bad at that.
And how do you build? How do you build? I've asked my friends. So at our church, we have like what's called squads. So it's like Bible study, but we don't call it that. So what we do, we'll get together. We have a squad leader, and it'll be a group of us get together at our squad leader house, and we talk about what Pastor preached on the previous Sunday. But we relate that to our everyday life. How does this affect you? How are you able to express something to somebody?
Or apply.
Exactly. Without just tearing down somebody, and how do you actually build them up?
Gotcha.
How do you do that? How I can understand how to do that, but sometimes we get a little this thing that's in our mouth, This pink tornado, that's dangerous. And knowing that, being a woman, you have to have a spirit of discernment to know when to shut your mouth and when to open. And when you open, let it be something wise. Let it be something kind. And it ain't always going to be kind, but it needs to be something that you really know that this person really needs to hear, that's going to help them and not just destroy them.
Got it.
Sometimes you just can't open your mouth and just say what you want to say.
You know, to answer that question, you got to realize one thing first and foremost. If I don't speak up, I risk my needs not being met.
That's right.
Right. So whoever is feeling like, you know what, I want to share about this, or I need to talk to you about this. Once that notion gets in their mind of, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to start something. You know, now whatever your needs are, your wants and desires, they'll never be fulfilled.
Right.
It'll just be wishful thinking. Two, it's like going to the restaurant, right? With that plate and that dish that's in front of you, it's all about the presentation, right? It doesn't matter how touchy that topic is that you want to bring it up. It doesn't matter how small, medium or large, whatever the topic is. It's all about the presentation. Everything doesn't need to be, let's sit on this couch and let's have this conversation about it. Come up with, let's go watch a funny movie about something that you just did 2 days ago that irked my nerve, and then let me make a joke about it because it just pulled up in this scene, right?
Comedy
and now,
helps.
it does,
And
right?
and it tear down walls and barriers of, and unmuzzle your mouth, and it'll open up your heart to say, I feel safe to say. It gives it a different atmosphere.
And it's very creative.
You know?
I think that's very creative.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing in their relationships or new ideas, especially when you've been married for a long time or in a relationship for a long time. You should be open to new ideas and things that are going to make it fun and exciting and
And people are doing that nowadays.
Yes.
Not to cut you off with IG. A lot of them are a lot of people are posting content of real life situations but making it comical,
Yes.
and then they're sharing it to their significant others to lighten up the load of this is what you do, this is what everybody does, but we can still have a conversation about it and laugh. In my opinion, and I'll say this and then I'll let you go, in my opinion, when you allow that person to know before the conversation is even had that everybody does it and you're not singling them out, letting them know that this is a you problem. This is that everyone. We can all laugh about it, but let me bring it to your attention. You know, that's when you can actually have those type of conversations as well.
It makes it lighter.
Correct.
Well, we have a few minutes. We only have a few minutes left. I want you to share what you will about touchy topics and what you have coming up, because I want us all to go and follow you and get in and join in on this conversation, and then just close out with some encouraging words for someone who's out there struggling in their dating season right now.
Talk to me. I'm not struggling in my dating. I want to date at some point.
I got you. So the brand is, you know, the art of us, right? And under that brand, you have touchy topics. When a barbershop met the beauty bar, pretty much merging those conversations that we have in barbershops and salons. Under that, we have single CEOs, right? Especially out here in Atlanta, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, executives, people that have 9-to-5s winging off into their own entities. And, you know, with single CEOs, it's elevating what's already established, right? A lot of people are saying, well, what do you bring to the table? Well, for me, I came up with the concept. I elevate what's already at the table. I upgrade, right? Who doesn't like to be upgraded?
That.
You know, when we talk about women that are single, that are single and CEOs, a lot of them feel like, you know, men are quote unquote intimidated by my success. Well, if I put you in a room full of other successful men, again, that's subjective, but men that are, you know, on the same level of with you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially, that notion goes out the way. You know, if I bring, you know, women that are just successful as you are, you don't have to worry about someone trying to take you to the bank after you get married and, you know, don't want to do 50-50 or bring that to the table and take it. That stuff is going out the window. You got a woman that's been getting it right before they met you, and if it don't work out, they're going to continue to. So, you know, with that, it's about bringing quality people together. There's going to be live music. beautiful ambiance, just like the beautiful ambiance in this beautiful studio that you have us in, right? I may have to do a single CEOs in here one day. But
Come on, you welcome.
I love it in here. Listen, I brought my bag in here. I'm about to say, where my room at? So I can
So you go ahead and get it together.
It's beautiful in here, y'all.
Thank you.
But allowing people of quality to come in there, have some R&B music, have a live band, have a mixer, have some
That's
conversations,
nice.
and have a mixer. Everything don't have to be a networking event. Everything don't have to be
Yes.
online dating.
Yes.
Bring certain
Right.
quality individuals into one room. Let's have a talk. Let's mix and mingle, and let's have fun, right? And then there's a thing that I'm doing at the end, which is going to be called the accountability toast. I'm not going to get into too much of that, but I want accountability to feel sexy.
Yes.
Yes.
Both of y'all did
Because I feel like that's the breakdown of all relationships.
Yes. Yes.
Y'all
Nobody
like
wants
that?
to be held accountable.
That.
I love it.
Yes.
Y'all hold up y'all champagne
Yeah,
glasses
absolutely.
and do accountability.
But that's also that
I
runs
think that is good.
parallel to marriages.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
Married people need that too.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely do
But
that.
somebody just asked me, are you gonna ever get married again? I'm like, let me tell you, Boomerang said no.
All right.
And guess what? I rolled that thing right back instantly. God convicted me instantly.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I have to be honest. I'm open to what God got for me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You
'cause
have to
trust
stay
and believe
open.
me, you can say no all you want, but let the right man come into your life.
Right.
That part.
Right.
Part.
Let the right man be at gas pump number 6. While you at 2.
And then I'm talking about, well, he really need to be, well, he was over here. That's who I sent for you.
Right. So now speak to someone who is out here struggling. There's a lot of them out
There's a
here
lot.
struggling with dating. Whether it's fear or whether it is lack of confidence.
Right.
Kind of pour into them, and of course invite them out to your platform. But just kind of inspire them and let them know it's not. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Right. We as a phrase that we like to use, the quote unquote dating pool. Come up with some strategic ways to make sure that when somebody gets out somebody else's dating pool, they dry off before they get into yours. You don't want residue coming into your pool.
That's right.
One of the last chapters in my book is soul tides and conversation
Say
and
that.
sex. You have to be very careful on, again, when you're getting into these dating atmospheres, who you allow to have access to you. Now you're going to these stories on where you from, opening up about daddy issues, talking about trauma bonding, all these different things. The relationship doesn't work out in a week or 2 or a month. Now this person kind of goes out here in the world and has all your personal
All your
information out there.
personal
So it's almost like that
information.
person is taking a piece of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people are feeling like dating is exhausting. Things like that. Take your time. Be patient. Make sure that you're at a place in life where you don't have to feel like you are just wanting to adult, not wanting to have me time, and you can't sit down and enjoy your own company.
Come on now.
You have those things.
That feels so good.
And while you're on social media, change up the trajectory on what you entertain yourself with. Because what we pour into our spirit,
That's right.
that's going to wind up exuding, whether
Right.
it's the people, places, and things that we wind up keeping ourselves around. Start looking up some positive marriages things. Start looking up, hearing some of these stories, even such as yourself, where you talked about
I
being
probably
married
just
for
come
20
and sit
some
in
odd
your
plus years.
space.
We need to, hear these type of stories. We need to hear how I've sat down with, with your producers and stuff before the cameras was even rolling, and heard about their beautiful marriage for the past 15 years,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
These are strong, and we were just talking about that. Some of the strongest stories are the ones that you don't wind up seeing on the camera.
Right, that's right.
So for me, with the audience, start putting yourself around people, places, and things that you don't usually see, that you don't usually hear, and that you don't usually put yourself in a route of, because trust and believe me, they are around. And and yes, check out the book. It's on Amazon, Touchy Topics, When the Barbershop Met the Beauty Bar. Check it, check us out on IG, where it's 21_Touchy Topics, The Art of Us by .ap. And check us out on The Trish Show, you heard?
Absolutely.
This is the spot to be right
This
here.
part right here.
But thank you. I'm start calling you AP. I'll tell you. Thank you, AP, so much for coming on and sharing with us. I really, I wanted you to come on. We talked about this last year. And most people know I'm a woman of my word. When I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
She is definitely
So I'm glad to finally have you on here. We definitely, however I can support your platform and what you're doing, I will definitely be there.
Appreciate that. And likewise.
Yes, absolutely. So, guys, we'll be right back.
Trish Standley TV show.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Trish Standley TV. I want to thank my guest, Anthony Poole, aka AP. Make sure you go check him out. His platform is it's new, but it's fresh, and it's something that is tackling the proper way to have a communication between a single woman and a single man. And I love it. Whether you are never been married and you're just out here dating and trying to figure it out, or if you've been married and you're divorced and you're new to the dating arena, then he is the guy for you to go and follow, and make sure you get that workbook. Even married couples can work through that workbook. I really like that workbook. So make sure you guys go check him out and support his platform. Also, again, thank you to Twanda for coming and hanging out with me here on today's episode. I learned a lot, even as a married woman, and I hope that you were able to receive if you're out here dating and you're single. One thing that Anthony said that I really, really took away from was, don't rush. Take your time. I want to dedicate this show to a friend of mine, Melissa King, who succumbed this week, and I hope and pray for her family that they will find healing. But make sure always that you connect with the one who is ordained for you, because that person will not ever hurt you. Thank you guys for tuning in. My quote for today is a little funny. It says, modern dating is like ordering from Amazon. Lots of options, low commitment, and most of all, it gets returned. You guys, be safe out there in these dating streets. As I always say, love isn't love unless you give it away. Give some love away today. Thank you guys.
This is the place where